The next thing Spencer and I are going to talk about is going to be who are the two X factor game changing players on both teams or on both sides of the ball for each team. Spencer, you'll do it for Oregon. I'll do it for Utah. Go for it when you're ready.
Yeah, I think offensively, it's pick your favorite tight end. Patrick Herbert and Terrence Ferguson are both really good pass catchers, especially T. Ferg, who's a tough guy to tackle. But Patrick Herbert has really come on this year. A guy who was the number 4 tight end last year behind T. Ferg, who's been the number 1, and Cam McCormick and Maliki Montevau. Those guys transfers to other Power 5 schools, and then Herbert has to step up, and he looks, after battling injuries for the first couple of seasons on campus, he looks healthy and he looks fantastic. He is blocking guys really well. He had that pancake block on that Bucky Irving touchdown where the Washington State guys just what's going up, and then he just gets popped. But he makes a lot of good blocks outside of that. Really, they both do. And typically in the passing game, only one has an impact performance, and it's not Brock Bowers stuff where you're going 8 for 120 and 2 scores, but they are guys who can come up in key situations. They like to run some fake toss concepts and then wheel the tight end up the sideline. They've done that a couple times this year. So I'd look for one of the tight ends to make an impact in the running game and also have, something like just 4 catches for 40 to 50 yards. And usually they come up in key spots or come up with big plays. And then defensively, I'm going with the guy who's just going to play in his second game this year, and that's Justin Jacobs, at the linebacker position, because I look at this game and I talk about on tomorrow's episode of Locked On Ducks, which I recorded earlier today, saying that, if Oregon wins the ground game, I think they win the game. And I think that when you look at what Utah's offense is, I know Bryson Barnes has been a lot better the last couple of weeks. I think Oregon's defense is a lot closer to UCLA and Oregon State than it is Cal and USC. And I think that if you take away the ground game, I don't trust, brace yourself for Bryson Barnes slander here, but I don't trust Bryson Barnes to be able to go for 320 and 2 scores the way that, although he had a bad game against Oregon last year, the way that Cam Rising can, right? If the running game isn't there and Cam Rising's your quarterback, he can go for 280, 300, a couple touchdowns, and you can be a pass first, run second offense. But with Bryson Barnes back there, you have to be able to run the football. And I think that Justin Jacobs brings a physical presence to the Oregon defense that, their linebackers have been solid this year, but not making a ton of explosive and big impact plays. I think Jacobs is capable of doing that. So I look at him and say, if he makes an impact in the running game and helps, contribute to the Ducks stopping the Utes ground attack, then Oregon will be in a good spot.
Good points. Good point. You want to go? Did you go over 2 on each side?
Yeah. Two on each side. My bad. I thought it was one on each side.
Problem.
So here's the other one. Defensively,
I know you could go, dude. I know you got 12
I can always. I give you 7 X factors on either side if you want. Like, the other X factor to me defensively is the safety position. Just broadly speaking for the Ducks, it has not been good this year. There have been some good moments, but once again, even though Oregon revamped that safety room this offseason, they have just not gotten impact plays from safeties. Evan Williams has been good blitzing and making plays in the run game around the line of scrimmage, and he's faster than his brother, but neither one of those guys or any of the safeties really are routinely involved in pass breakups. They haven't done great in coverage this year. Tysheem Johnson especially has struggled in coverage. I just look at the safety position and think, man, are you going to be able to make some impact plays that are actually on the back end of the defense? I think of Ron McKinley. I think of Javon Holland, in past years for the Ducks. Brady Breeze, who had the interception of Tyler Huntley in 2019, the Pac-12 championship game, one of them anyway. Like, those plays from safeties just haven't been there. All the impact plays in the secondary have come from the corners, who I do like and trust, including the second string guys. But I look at that safety group, and I have been really underwhelmed. I actually had it earlier this week on my show as one of Oregon's biggest weaknesses going into this game. And I feel great about Oregon as a team, but I just think the lack of production from what is usually a playmaking position is something that Oregon can certainly improve upon going into this game. And then the other thing is, I'm sure Utah fans know, hot take alert again, Troy Franklin's really good. He's a very good wide receiver. The X factor offensively is the number 2 and that has changed throughout the course of the year. There have been sequences where it's Trayshawn Holden. Sometimes it's Gary Bryant. Mostly it's been Tez Johnson. And I think when Tez Johnson is in a good groove with Bo Nix and their brothers, as anyone who watched the broadcast last week would know, when Tez Johnson is making plays for this Oregon offense, they have got everything they need in their tool bag. Because if you want to double Troy Franklin, you can leave Tez in a 1v1. That guy might even be a better route runner than Troy Franklin. He's a fluid, explosive, dynamic athlete. Had 8 catches for 94 yards and a score last week against Washington State. So one of the tight ends who steps up, one of the safeties, I'm not sure which one among those groups, and then Justin Jacobs and Tez Johnson. Those would be my 4 X factors, 2 on each side.
Dude, I love it. Good info. Make sure if you guys aren't already, Spencer McLaughlin, he's the host of Locked On Ducks, Locked On Pac-12, one of the more knowledgeable guys in the college football landscape. So make sure you follow him. He's pretty awesome, and he could just go for days. If you gave him a radio show that went 8 hours long, he could do the whole damn thing.
As long as you prepare.
Yeah. So I'm going to give you guys my 2 X factors for Utah. So I'll start with Utah's offense. I think there's the obvious one. If you guys are an Oregon fan, I'd be shocked if you don't know about Sione Vaki. Sione Vaki is one of the better safeties in college football, and we have been putting him on offense. The past 2 weeks, he's averaging 185 all-purpose yards for Utah. He is deadly, and 2 touchdowns on top of that. He has become a monster weapon that has revitalized this offense, not just taking it up a notch, but really just it looks different. So I would say I think a lot of people are talking about Bryson Barnes. Understand what Sione Vaki's doing back there and how much that opened things up for Bryson Barnes. He's a monster. I'm telling you guys, like you think a converted safety, like maybe this is a little bit of, he was just open here or there. Go watch the USC game, and there's a play where he takes a handoff to the outside, and the play's like dead. The linebackers are closing in on him, and he just like bounces it to the corner and like a level of speed that I can't remember seeing recently. I did not understand how fast Sione Vaki is until that play, and the guy is super impressive. He will be a big playmaker in this game. I'll be shocked if he's under 100 yards. He really has impressed me the past couple of weeks. The other big-time playmaker for Utah is going to be Jaquindon Jackson. I know a lot of people are talking about Bryson Barnes again, and trust me, I'll go ahead and just throw it out there. Bryson Barnes is like my honorable mention. Oh, damn, Greg Hawkins with the $20 super chat. Greg Hawkins, dude, he's the man, dude. Greg, thank you so much, dude. You're the man. But what's his name? Jaquindon Jackson is the guy. Bryson Barnes, honorable mention, but Jaquindon Jackson is a straight beast. I can tell you guys, I think there's so much hype around Sione Vaki and so justified that he has so much hype. But Jaquindon Jackson, dude, it was literally like a light switch. Once, just so you guys know, when you look at the really bad games for Utah that have made this offense look terrible, guess what they all have in common? Jaquindon Jackson has 5 carries or less in all those games. And I'm telling you, he is a game changer. So those are the 2 big playmakers for the offense. Obviously, Bryson Barnes needs to do a good job, but I don't think he's going to make or break the game. I think we're going to make sure that Jaquindon Jackson and Sione Vaki are the guys that make or break the game. And then on defense.
Can I just say one thing on
Jaquindon
Jackson real quick? He is such a Utah running back. Everything about him screams Utah. He's like CJ Verdell if you gave him HGH and steroids. Just like one cut downhill kind of guy, but wants to run through you. And Verdell was a little bit smaller, but as you guys probably remember from 2019, a feisty and capable back. Jackson is just, I am surprised that they had him playing quarterback at one point in time, because I look at him as a running back and go, I think that's what he does really, really well. Is he just lines
shocking.
up?
How did they not see this before?
I agree. And I mean, I look at him and say, okay, what exactly makes you think as a defender, I want to tackle that guy? Like, nobody says that, right? Nobody's like, oh, dude, I can't wait to tackle Jaquindon Jackson. He's always falling backwards. Like
Man,
there
if you guys
hasn't
want
been
to
no.
know about Jaquindon Jackson's physicality, go watch the Washington State game last year. Do you know the play I'm talking about, Spencer?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Another one.
dude.
I watched that game.
It
Good
was like
football
a
game.
good linebacker, too. I think he was like an NFL prospect, if I'm right. Maybe I'm wrong, but he was pretty good. And it looks like a fake video. It looks like the guy's pretending to miss the tackle. Like he must have hit him so hard, he like lost consciousness. That's
Yeah,
not a good thing. I'm just saying, like he just falls.
he embodies Utah football in a very, very real way.
For sure. And make sure you guys smash that like button. Like I said, follow Spencer, Locked On Ducks, Locked On Pac-12. Awesome guy. I know a lot of you guys already know about his shows. Let's talk about the Utah defensive X factors. So the big one is Jonah Ellis. Jonah Ellis, we all knew he was a good player coming into this year, but this year he's leading Power 5 football in sacks. And I was pulling up the grades yesterday. According to PFF, there's only 3 Power 5 players. 2 of them are for UCLA. Ridiculous edge rusher group UCLA has.
Oh, dude, it's so crazy.
But 3 players are above Jonah Ellis on PFF grading for edge rushers. And of those 3 players, all of them have played 100 snaps less or more than Jonah Ellis. So I would tell you guys, Jonah Ellis is a superstar at edge rusher. He's a beast. I can't imagine a world where he's not a first round pick or an early day 2 pick. I'd be pretty damn surprised at this point. The other guy for me, I think this might be a little more of an unknown guy. I would be shocked if people don't know about Jonah Ellis, but Karine Reed, I know Utah fans know about him. He's one of the linebackers for Utah. Oh, hey, speaking of injury report, I didn't mention Lander Barton. I don't know how I missed that.
Oh yeah, that is a fail on your part.
Dude, he's one of the best linebackers in the country. He's a monster, and he is out for the season for Utah. And that is why Karine Reed will be an X factor for Utah. He is a really good linebacker, but he is going to be a little on the spot without Lander Barton against a great rushing team in Oregon. And so he's going to need to step up to the plate and have a good day. He's great at tackling. He makes really good open field tackles, and he's going to need to really live up to the hype this week if we're going to pull off this win against Oregon. So